What's up, YouTubers? We are going to make a spatchcock chicken today. Let's start by doing a little bit of prep work. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip that chicken over and we are going to cut out the back or the spine of the chicken. Now, to do that, you just lift it up, use a pair of kitchen shears, and cut down each side of the spine of the back of the chicken. That'll split it open, and then you flip it over and press it down just like that. You take that piece out and you just toss that right in the trash. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pat that chicken dry. All right, doing this will make the skin a lot crispier, and will help your chicken stay juicy while you're cooking it. All right, so here she is. She's real pretty now, but she's going to be much prettier when she's done. So the next thing we're getting ready to do is we're going to put a nice thick layer of sea salt over the skin. All right, actually we're going to put it over the whole chicken. And what this does is it really tightens up the skin while it's cooking, and ensures that the chicken is juicy. Throughout this cooking process, you'll see I'll probably take 3 or 4 steps just to ensure the juiciness of the chicken. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't eat chicken, is because it's dry. Things of that nature. So you really have to ensure that your chicken is juicy when it's cooked. So as you now see, I'm putting it inside of this Tupperware container. And what I'm going to do is, this is called like a dry brine. So basically, I just covered it in sea salt, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to leave it in there for about 2 to 3 hours. That's going to give that chicken an opportunity to really set up nicely. That sea salt is going to constrict that skin, and it's going to ensure for a nice juicy chicken when it's done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the prep work on those Brussels sprouts. Now, the way we're going to handle those is we're going to take each one, we're going to quarter them. So we're going to cut them down the middle twice. We're going to make sure that we remove any leaves that are yellow or they look old or anything like that. I kind of already did that with these, so these look pretty good. So again, you're just going to quarter them, cut them up twice, right down the middle. Now, the next step, and a very important step, is you're going to put a little bit of sea salt in with those Brussels sprouts, and then put in some good filtered water. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to remove a lot of the bitterness that you normally get with Brussels sprouts. All right, so you're going to let those brine in the fridge for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Next up, we're going to get on started with the prep work on those sweet potatoes. So you're going to take those sweet potatoes, and these are sweet potato spears, so you're pretty much just going to quarter those. Now with the onions, we're just going to take those. These are going to be for the Brussels sprouts, and we're just going to dice those down pretty much as small as we can get them. All right, so we got our onions all diced up nice. We'll just get those in a baggie, keep them cold in the fridge, and we're pretty much done with our prep work. All right, guys, we're back. So we've let that chicken sit in the fridge for a couple of hours. We've let those Brussels sprouts soak in that sea salt for a little while and get some of that bitterness out. Now we got our chicken out, and we're going to start the all-important seasoning process. All right, so as you can see, I'm taking some unsalted butter and I'm rubbing it on the skin of the chicken. I'm massaging it in. And again, what that does, that's all about the skin and preserving the juiciness of that chicken. So front side, back side, under the skin, wherever you can get it, rub that butter in. All right, now let's take a look at our seasonings, guys. All right, so we got some garlic powder, some chili powder. All right, we got some red pepper flakes, some cayenne. All right, then we got some basil leaves. All right, we also have black pepper. We're gonna use a lot of that. And then we have some kosher salt. All right. So now let's go ahead and start throwing those seasonings on. All right, so just a light dusting of that kosher salt. Remember, All right, the only thing you'll really see me go heavy on is that garlic powder. Okay. All right, and make sure you get both sides, inside of all the crevices. You really don't want to leave any stone unturned. All right, the last seasoning I'm gonna put on is black pepper. I'm gonna go a little bit heavy on that as well. Now go ahead and put that on your pan. As you can see, I have mine on a rack, and I'm gonna put that into a 450-degree oven. All right, guys, so we've had that chicken in the oven now at 450 degrees for about 10 minutes. All right, so now we're just gonna get these veggies prepped up, these sweet potatoes and these Brussels sprouts. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put some olive oil on those, some kosher salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and then a secret weapon on those is just a little bit of oregano. All right, so now you're gonna mix everything together in a bowl. I use like a rolling technique that you'll see here. That's a good way to make sure that everything is evenly coated. And so go ahead and put those to the side. Next up, we're gonna prep those Brussels sprouts. So with those, you really wanna get that sea salt water, pour it out of there, maybe rinse them off a few times, drain them, and then we're gonna give them pretty much the same treatment. Go with that olive oil, that kosher salt, that black pepper, and then get everything mixed up very nicely in that bowl. And then we're gonna take the chicken out of the oven and we're gonna put everything in the same pan. We're also gonna reduce that heat down to 400 degrees. So for the first 10 minutes, we're gonna let it cook at 4. All right, so we're gonna take that heat down to 400 degrees. That chicken has been cooking at 450 degrees for about 10 minutes. And look how pretty it is already. That's just after 10 minutes on 450. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna lay out those sweet potato spears. Just try to space them out a little bit so that you can get a little airflow. It is sitting up on the rack about a ½ inch off of that pan. Now go ahead and pour the rest of that olive oil, that kosher salt, that black pepper, that garlic powder over the top. Now for those Brussels sprouts, what I did was I created just a little boat out of foil. There's a little bit of space on the front of that pan, and I wanted to make sure I kept everything kind of together. So I just stacked them all up in that boat. Now what we're gonna do is throw everything back in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. We're gonna prep that sweet honey barbecue sauce. All right, guys, so that makes 10 minutes. An additional 10 minutes, our bird has been in the oven. Total cook time thus far has been 20 minutes. So what you just saw there was some onions and some leftover portobellos in a saute pan with some Irish butter. So I had to get those started. Now let's have a good look at our bird. Looking pretty good. So I use a celery stalk as a baster. Just get a nice long celery stalk, pull the young one out the middle, works fine. Paint it up. I got some Sweet Baby Ray's mixed with some honey. Put a nice thin base coat. We're gonna put that back in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes and do it all over again. So we have now had our chicken in the oven for an additional 20 minutes, 30 minutes total cook time, 10 minutes at 450, 20 at 400. This is what it looks like now after that first coat of barbecue sauce. So we're gonna go ahead and flip those sweet potatoes over. Make sure you flip every single one. Turn them up on their side, flip them. Next, we're gonna grab some tongs and we're gonna move those Brussels sprouts around just so we can make sure we get an even cook on those. And then next up, actually, I see I'm painting the chicken now, but we're gonna take a break here and throw some bacon in with our onion and our mushrooms. All right, so that's gonna be the oil that we're gonna use to cook our Brussels sprouts in. So as you can see, I used just 2 slices of bacon. That's going to provide about that 2 tablespoons of bacon grease that we're going to need to finish off those Brussels sprouts. Now I'm just going ahead and applying that second coat. Again, this is a thin coat. With this coat, you basically just want to finish on all the spots that you may have missed on that first coat. And then again, just nice and light. And then throw that thing back in the oven at 400 degrees. All right, so we've let that chicken cook now for an additional 20 minutes. So that's 40 minutes total at 400 degrees and 10 minutes at 450. So total cook time of 50 minutes to this point. All right, so now we've let that bacon cook, mixing in with those onions and those portobello mushrooms. So we're just gonna remove that bacon. We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna put our Brussels sprouts in. Actually, sorry about that. We're gonna put that minced garlic in first. Then we're gonna add our Brussels sprouts, and then we're gonna add our bacon back in on top of that. All right, so a tablespoon of that minced garlic went in, and then you just dump those sprouts right back on top. You want to do this on high heat because you want to let those Brussels sprouts and that garlic and everything get a chance to mix flavors. All right, now you're going to take that chopped up bacon. You're going to put that on top. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys could smell this is incredible. That bacon grease mixed with the garlic, mixed with the onions, mixed with the mushrooms, mixed with those Brussels sprouts. It smells amazing. All right, now we're just going to give those sweet potato spears another quick flip. Okay, so we've had a chance to flip all those sweet potatoes. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna put another quick thin layer of barbecue sauce on this. And this is just a spot treatment. We wanna hit all of those spots that we may have missed on our other coatings. We're gonna put the oven on a high broil, and we're gonna leave it in there for about 5 minutes to finish it off and give it some good color. All right, make sure you keep an eye on that when it's in the broiler because it does tend to cook fast, but when it comes out, it's gonna be beautiful. All right, guys, these are our Brussels sprouts. They're just about done. They're looking good. This is what the chicken looks like fully done. You got your Brussels sprouts. You got your sweet potato spears. It's absolutely gorgeous. I went ahead and cut it up, plated it up. This is what it looks like. Enjoy.